Me. Yes. There we go.
Hey, everybody. My name is Toni Branner, and I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I grew up kind of all over the place, but mostly in Northern Virginia near Washington, D.C., and then met my husband in college at UNC Chapel Hill. And my big claim to fame is I was the head cheerleader for Michael Jordan during those wonderful days when he played at UNC Chapel Hill. I thought I wanted to go to med school, and kind of at the last minute just had this moment. It's kind of a God moment for me of nope, you're going to be on the prevention side of things. That's going to be your path. So it was my senior year, and I ran to the career center and I said, how can I do this? And switched my major, went to graduate school in exercise physiology and nutrition, became a professor. I was the first director of the first wellness center there at the university before wellness was cool, right? So that was really amazing. And that's where I really started asking questions about who lives the longest and who lives the healthiest and what are they doing? And how could we teach others to do what they're doing? And it really kind of looked at prevention at the cellular level. Like, what if we could prevent disease before someone had their mission in life postponed or cut short to have to deal with a chronic illness? And of course, all of you know that led me to the path of foundational wellness, like getting to the root issues. And everybody knows what that is: drink more water, move your body, take deep breaths, get the toxins out of your life. But the big, amazing one was eat more whole plant food, whole plant-based food, and fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and beans. And it was so simple that I was so young, and I thought, this is going to be so easy. I'm just going to go out in the world and tell people what to do, and they're all going to listen to me because I'm so smart. And I just did all of the schooling, and I'm a professor. Of course, they're going to listen to me, right? Well, you know how that went. Some did listen to me, and it was amazing, but it was difficult. You know, people are busy and they're on a budget and they travel and they have picky kids. We all know the story. And so I was doing good work, but I was a little bit frustrated. I started my own company. I was speaking in corporations, schools, hospitals. I was doing a lot of continuing education for healthcare professionals. By this time, I was married to my amazing husband, Billy, and he's an ophthalmologist. But I was really still missing that piece. I knew they needed to eat every color of the rainbow. I became known as the crazy plant lady way before plant-based eating was cool. And I just happened to be invited about 27 years ago to hear a talk at my local hospital. And it was an amazing registered dietitian. And she was sharing that she puts all of her patients on something called Juice Plus. And at first I gave, the hand and said, no, no, I'm going to get them to eat the real food. But the more she talked, I was like, oh my gosh, this is real food. So you all know what Juice Plus is. That's not what tonight is all about. But I did something very selfish. Even though I was a healthcare professional, I took Juice Plus home to my own family and kept it to myself. Believe it or not, I did this for 8 years. I was so worried about being a salesperson or whatever that I just couldn't figure out a way. And it was a different world back then. Doctors didn't sell things back then. Now they do. It was very different, but it's still no excuse. And two of my best friends were diagnosed with breast cancer in the same month, believe it or not. I went to have lunch with them. I took all my recipe books, my plant-based handouts, and I said, you've got to eat plant-based during your treatment. Here's all the data. And by the way, this will help you. These are called plant, whole food concentrates, plant powders. And, I was always trying to give everything a scientific name. So I wasn't selling anything, right? And they were like, you've known about this for 8 years and you kept it to yourself. Like, that's so selfish. That's actually unethical because you're a healthcare professional and you withheld information that might have made a difference for us. Um, so we got some noise. And so that was really the beginning of my story. I came home, I talked to my husband, we both agreed we needed to be sharing it. He's been sharing ever since with his eye patients, with degeneration, glaucoma, cataracts. I've been sharing with my personal clients and my speaking engagements. And I'm really proud of the community that we've developed around that, my team. We call our team Health Made Simple. And we do still lead with education. It's, we still feel good that we're not just selling, but I've come to the point where I'm so proud to be selling. We eat Juice Plus and we share it. We eat Juice Plus and we share it. It's really, really important to do that. And so my phone is going off. So that's kind of our story. And what I plan to do tonight, Lauren, I have some success tips. And then I had 3 little just things to think about that I thought would be fun to do tonight. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Sounds great. Okay, but you can claim, what was I going to say? You can claim Michael Jordan and I can claim Herschel Walker.
Okay.
And, so
yeah.
we'll claim. So now that we've got our football and our basketball
Yeah.
coverage, we can claim both.
You got to have your one fun fact that you throw in there.
One fun fact.
But those were fun times to be a cheerleader. I actually had 2 resumes when I graduated. One said I was a cheerleader and one said I wasn't, because some people look down on that, where I looked upon it as I was organizing this whole group of people and travel and, all the things.
But it's interesting. I do want to share something interesting about Michael Jordan, because, I'm a Carolina girl. I mean, I was going to go to Carolina. We probably would have been friends had I gone there.
Yes.
But I was from a basketball high school. And so Buzz Peterson was Michael Jordan's best friend, and Mike, you probably remember those days. And I remember Michael coming his freshman year. He would come to Asheville a lot with Buzz. And, even then, I mean, maybe you can help out, because I think this is relevant to our business. Even Michael's first year, he wasn't very confident as a like really knowing his place. And I would say that it was the community around him, like Brad Doherty, Buzz Peterson. I mean, I would love if you would just real quickly, if you would share a little bit about how I think community, I mean, and if I remember correctly, even Michael Jordan said that. And I think about our business, if we remember that you don't have to do this alone, that it really is all about community pulling together. Can you share a little bit about what that was like back then for a second, and about the community?
The story is Michael got cut from his high school team in his sophomore year. So that coach still feels bad about that, I'm sure. But he, when he got to Chapel Hill, Dean Smith was known as a coach who was all about teamwork, and nobody was the star. And even though Michael was starting to get better and better, they got picked to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And he let the 4 other starters be on the cover, but not Michael. He said, "You're a freshman, you haven't paid your dues." So he, it was the whole teamwork is the dream work was in place there, just like it is for us. And that's one of the first things I had on my list tonight. Was part of this journey is becoming a servant leader, not a leader. In my old job as a professor, I just told people what to do and they did it. But this is different. This is us being a servant leader, is what's in it for you, what's in it for your team, not what's in it for yourself. So that's the first thing. And there's a lot of information out there. If you've never studied servant leadership, I do a whole training just on that. But that's a really good thing to look at. What is a servant leader? What are their actions? What are they, looking at? The next one is, of course, building true, authentic relationships. And I really mean that. I mean, if you think of people in this business who've just built completely off, random, strangers, their business usually doesn't last. It doesn't mean you can't bring a stranger into your team and develop that relationship. That's the idea behind it. But you can't just, run the numbers and keep the longevity of your team. Lead with education. That doesn't mean you're not selling. It just means we're the best. But we have to be so proud of that and tell people why we're the best. We can't just sit there and hope they get it, because we have a lot more competition than we used to have. And we truly have the best 5 solutions. People who know me know I don't like the word products. I say solutions. We have the best 5 solutions for getting more fruits and vegetables into your body. And we need to shout it from the rooftops and let people know, we have the published studies, we have the quality control, we have, we have the education that goes along with it. So even if a person isn't quite ready yet, we pull them into our community, we give them free cookbooks, we love on them, we meet them where they are. And that education will lead them to see how Juice Plus can fit into their life, or maybe a tower garden, or maybe a smoothie, or whatever that door is that they walk through for the first time. And everyone has heard this a million times, but really, truly let go of the outcome, and you'll be less nervous. Just get up in the morning and say, I'm going to meet people and see what I can do to help them. What can I connect them with? How can I help them? Which resource should I send them to? Which person should I connect them with? What should I, information should I give them? Treat your customers like gold. Once you get a customer, treat them like gold. And there's, obviously lots of trainings on customer care, but ramp that up, because if you can keep a customer. I've just done some training on expanding your business, and it's way easier to get your business from word of mouth and referrals from the customers that you've treated like gold than it is to get new customers. So you can double, triple, quadruple your salary just by connecting in with your customers, being transparent with them, what we're trying to do, help more people. Even if they don't come on your team, that's okay. You want to bring them in as a team member, even though they're your customer. Celebrate, lock arms with, and pour energy and belief about our mission into our team members. A lot of our new people haven't ever been to a Juice Plus Live. A lot of them haven't met people from our corporate office. So we have to exude that culture, that community, that family that our company is all about, because we really are special. It really is amazing. Commit to your business as a professional. I don't think I need to tell Lauren's team this, but I always use this example. This is a really good example to share with your new team members. You get a job at the doctor's office, right? 3 hours on Monday. That's it, 1 to 4. And you're still going to have to dress nice. You're still going to have to learn how to answer the phone. You're still going to have to learn how their filing system works. You're still going to have to follow up with people and tell them their results of their blood work and their things that came in. But it's just 3 hours a week. So what if you said, oh, it's not that important. Maybe I'll come some weeks, and maybe I'll come, not come next week. Maybe I'll wear cut off jean shorts this week instead of my lab outfit. If you treated that job like that, you wouldn't last very long. Well, the same thing is true with our business. Even if you're doing it 15 minutes a day, I don't care. You're a professional, and leading with that example is going to transfer down to your team members and help your customers respect you as a professional. If you say you're going to tell them when their order ships and you don't, that's not very professional, and you would get fired in another job. But in our business, there's no boss. There's really no boss to fire you, except you can fire yourself and rehire yourself any day. It's really nice. I've fired myself many times. Follow the tried and proven system. We have such great tools. Don't try to reinvent stuff. Show up for work every day. And then the consistency thing is something that a lot of leaders have studied in depth. And what we know, for whatever reason, is 20% of people seem to be consistent with everything, with their exercise, with their work, with their Juice Plus DMO. 80% are amazing people. They have amazing talents. They have amazing backgrounds, whatever. But for some reason, they're not as consistent. And so one of the things we're trying to do is help come up with systems to just pick one thing and do it every day, create that chain. There's a really good book called The Consistency Chain that shows some of the research behind this. And just pick going for a walk every day, and don't break your chain. Do it every day. And then pick something from your business. Talk to one person every day, or maybe talk to one person every week. That would still be amazing, right? So using that consistency chain idea to start to develop habits on the income producing activities is really, really important. And we know that we don't need everyone in our company to work this business full time to make a huge difference. What if everyone in our company worked their business 30 minutes a day or an hour a day? That would be amazing. That would things would start to explode, especially if they were doing the right kind of activities. And then share as if each life depends on our solutions. Build a movement with your enthusiasm that other people want to be a part of. So these are my 3 little things I want to share with you, and then I'll take some questions. One is know where you're going. If there's a bus that pulls up and you know the little marquee on the top that has where it's going, what if it just had question marks? You wouldn't get on the bus. You'd be like, I don't know where that one's going, so I better not get on that one, right? Well, if you're wishy-washy about where you're going with your mission of doing this business, then people aren't going to join you. They're not going to come onto your team. They're not even going to join you as customers. You have to be sure of where you're going. Does that mean you have to work the business, 20 hours a day? No, you don't, but you just have to know where you're going. And you have to have the eye of the tiger, is what I call it. So one of my friends told me a long time ago, she said, whatever you're doing, you sure believe in it. And that made her curious, right? That made her curious. And so sometimes, especially when we're new, we're looking at our toes, we're shifting around, we're nervous. So do enough due diligence on building your belief that you get that eye of the tiger. So you don't even, you don't even get your feathers ruffled if someone says, oh, that can't be real. It's a pyramid scheme, or how did they get those fruits and vegetables into that capsule? You just smile because you know what you know. And then they're like, wow, that didn't even bother her what I said. Sometimes people are just trying to rattle you a little bit, but when you get that eye of the tiger, people are going to be curious, and they're going to keep listening and keep watching. It might not, hit right away. It might just be coming into your pipeline, and it's not God's timing yet for that person, but you're not going to waver. You're going to keep that eye of the tiger for what we have is the best of the best of the best. And we're just sad if people don't get it right away. We feel sorry for them. We'll keep loving on them and wait for them, but keep touching them, but we're not going to lose our eye of the tiger. And then the last one, I always do this to my team, doesn't mean timeout. It means transparency. So a lot of us are afraid. We're afraid of lots of crazy stuff. We have a wonderful girl on our team. She was a fighter pilot and she's like spent months in the desert with not much food and all this stuff. But when she had to tell her Juice Plus story, she was like shaking. And I thought, wow, why is this so scary sometimes, when we start our virtual business, and what can we do to overcome that fear? And it's really just being transparent. Just, let's say tomorrow's the last day of our blitz and there's this person you just really want to be on your team. You can't stop thinking about them, but they're just the coolest person you've ever known. They're probably way too cool for your business. They probably make way too much money. They have like 10 degrees, behind their name. And so you're just, so what do? You call them up and you say, I am so nervous to talk to you, but I cannot get it out of my mind that we're supposed to partner together in some way. Would you be okay to explore that a little bit with me and see what we come up with, right? Or whatever. That's just off the top of my head. But if you can be transparent and just tell people I'm nervous, or I've been trying to call you for 3 months and I've hung up, the phone every single time. And I finally got brave enough to call you today because I know you're, dealing with this illness, and I know you're getting tons of advice from everyone under the sun, but I just feel it in my heart that I want to share with you the solutions that I offer through my business, right? Whatever it is, I'm just making stuff up. But that T sign, that's what should give you courage, because if you don't share what we have, then you're deciding for the person. You're not letting them decide for themselves. And that's really scary, isn't it? That somebody didn't tell you, somebody didn't tell me, like my whole family, this is their business now. So those are the things I had for tonight. I'm willing to take
so
any questions.
crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's so crazy. Toni, I was just having, I was doing a session with a couple of people before, and they were sharing that. I'm like, just call her and say, I am so sorry, like that I didn't, share this with you. you were so excited, like, and I didn't get you going like right away with regards to it. So really follow your heart of what feels right. I think is so important. Like you said, like no one told me about the business. They told me about the product, but they didn't tell me about the business. So it was 17 years, right? I mean, now here it is 31 years later. I mean, what would have happened if I said yes 31 years ago? I don't know. But
Yeah.
I mean, we know, so we have some great examples of people who've been in our company for a long time. Also, could you share a little bit? Your kids have been on the product basically since the beginning, right?
Yeah, so my kids were 5 and 2 when I found Juice Plus, and when they each turned 18, I gave them a franchise for their birthday, and they were like, "Thanks, I wanted an iPad, but thanks." So now my husband has his own franchise, and he shares with his patients. My daughter is a national marketing director and only does this. She's never actually had a real job, which is pretty cool. She and her husband do their Juice Plus business full time from home. She also, for fun, can teach dance and do choreography, but she doesn't have to do that for income. She can just do it because she loves it. My son is on Broadway and with his girlfriend, who we hope will be more than that soon. Um, and, you know, if you're an artist, this is an amazing business. Reach out to artists that, you know, dancers, actors. Becky's on here. She's one of our part. That's one of your income streams is acting, right? And theater. She does many other things, but he is able to get, you know, to have an income. He's a sales coordinator, but he has a nice income to help defray his costs because there's gaps between jobs, you know, when you're in the arts. He's getting ready to go back on tour with Mean Girls. So I think it's coming through some of your cities, starting in Arizona and around the country.
Oh my
But
gosh, my daughter's definitely going to want to be there for that.
yeah,
So.
she's gonna want to be there. And yeah, and then you know, my mom's on my team. She tells her tennis friends all about this. She's been growing her tower garden on her balcony for 13 years. So it really is a legacy for our family. It's changed everything. You know, Jenna can stay home with my granddaughter. Her preschool was canceled this past year because of, you know, why. And so I said, I'll be the preschool. So she calls me Tiki because my maiden name is Toni Tickle. And so we had Tiki preschool every Wednesday, and we had a whole curriculum. We did arts and crafts, we did PE. Like, how many jobs could I do that? You know, sometimes twice a week, even. So it's just so important that we share that vision with people. They may not want to take it to the extreme as I have. But I just became so obsessed with how fun it was and how great the people were. And I was not consistent in the beginning. I did everything wrong. So it's never too late to start to turn it around. It's never, ever too late. I still struggle with consistency, you know. And I think my paycheck could be double or triple if I could have just been a little bit more consistent. So no matter where you are, you know, you can fire yourself today and rehire yourself.
I love that. I love that. And I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I know that we have Jeff Roberti on Cheryl's next call. And you have been amazing, but would love if anybody has a question, like 1 or 2 questions for Toni. This was a great call. So many great distinctions, so many great things. Anybody have any questions for Toni? You can unmute yourself.
Yeah,
Anyone?
I do, Lauren, if you don't mind.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, Toni. So good to see you on
we need
here.
to do lunch. We live near each other.
I know. You're just on the other side of that big old city down there. I have a question for you. Can you speak to the new people a little bit and just you know, just pushing through I think the frustration in the beginning, the paychecks for some people that have a full-time job and seems like they're throwing a lot of things against the wall. And like you said, they're getting themselves very uncomfortable, very vulnerable. But the paychecks don't seem to be that big in the beginning. Can you speak to that a little bit, or how would you speak to your girls on your team, your girls and your guys? On how to just push through that. And yeah, what's your talk track for that?
Okay, yeah. I mean, what I tell people is it's easier to go fast than slow, but it's your choice. If you're struggling with a lot of belief issues in the beginning, then you're probably going to go slow, at least at first. So think of it like, you're getting your degree, and then you're going slow to go fast, as Catherine Lee would say. Building your belief in your products and your company and in the business model that we have, and yourself to have the confidence to do this. And if that's true for you and that's what's holding you back, then that's okay. But admit it. Don't blame it on, don't blame it on something else, that you didn't have enough support, or you didn't, there's lots of support for everybody. But we just had 3 people just do the fast track to SC, the Express, hit each one of the Express tracks, and they're so excited. Like, it's really fun to go fast. So if you can set that vision right at the beginning, like, there's a really fast track and here's how we would have to ramp it up to do that. It's really events. Like, you have to do an amazing launch call. You've got to plug them in, to our weekly events that we have. You've got to be available for 3-way calls and set goals, 10 3-way calls the first month, like, let's go. So that's how we do it fast. But we also have 2 levels on our team. We call it the leader level and the mission level. And we want everyone to know they're completely loved and welcome if they just want to stay at the mission level. We try to get them all to SC, even if it's this cumulative way, but so they're not leaving any money on the table. But it's completely fine. Some people love their regular job. Some people, they just love our community and they want to do a little bit. But we have to share the vision. And some people in the beginning will say they want to go slow out of fear. And so we have to dig that out. I bet, Lauren, you're really good at digging that out. Is it really that you want to go slow, or is it just you're afraid for some reason?
And I think that's what Cheryl did really great for me. I'm pretty attention all Kmart shoppers until Kmart's gone. I have to find something new until then. But it's like, I didn't even know there was anything other than SC. And Cheryl said, my job is to put a check in your hand that you go, wow, maybe this could mean something. And so she said, and I said, okay, well, what's the fastest, what's the highest commission level? And she says, sales coordinator. I'm like, what do I need to do? And so I think that, like you said, lots of times it's our fear that gets in the way of, like, well, you have to do this step and let's get you there and let's get to there. If you see somebody, like you said, that they're ready to go and they're like, they are hungry. Like, somebody just wrote me literally, and she goes, I need to know, like, what's my 30-day, how can I maximize the most for my, let's see, it just says it right here. What do you need to do? What can I do? What's the best way to monetize the first 90 days to focus on building 5 front lines? Mm-hmm. So she asked, like, right there, right? Like, so we know we're going to let's get you to the highest commission structure as quickly as possible. And so kind of backtracking, when did you say, like, start with the end in mind a little bit as well? For people.
Yeah. And we call them unicorns on our team. There's some people that they're just going to do it and you just have to get out of their way. If you try to train them for 3 hours, that's not good. So we have some people like that, but then there's the people like I was, so I have a lot of sympathy for that and empathy for that. Of, I had a lot of questions and I needed my questions answered. I call it healthy skepticism. So those people might be your superstars down the road, but be patient with them. And then your ones that are ready to go. Our one person, Coach Cairo, who just joined our team, her first paycheck was almost $2,000. Her first month. She went so fast. So that's pretty exciting for most people. But that's rare. Honestly, it's pretty rare. Most people need to build that belief a little bit more, and we just have to be patient with them, but give them a choice, set the vision in the beginning.
And that's why the 3-way calls, like you said.
I'm sorry, Lauren, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the 3-way calls, like you said, to really build that belief is pretty powerful. 3-way calls. Would you say you built your business a lot on 3-way calls, Toni?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I keep a journal, and it's directly proportional to their success, how many 3-way calls they do. Directly.
Love that. Do you have any other things in the beginning when people are still building belief, whether it's the company, the product, et cetera? Are there things that you, weekly calls, are there activities that you really try to encourage them to do in order, again, as part of the process, the proven process, to get through those phases of building belief so that they can go slow to go fast?
Yeah, I mean, I have some of my team members on here. They might want to pop some stuff in the chat. Harley and Tama and Becky, Omara is on here. So we, every week we do a solutions call, and it's for guests, but it's also, I think, even more important for building belief, because some people on our team will say, after listening to you every Tuesday night for 10 weeks in a row, you should have heard me talking to my sister-in-law. I knew exactly what to say. So having, and it can be the tools that the company provides too. I think I listened to Dr. Du Bois over and over and over again, to the point where my little boy said, Mommy, could we listen to something other than Dr. Du Bois? It was a cassette tape. That's all we had, but I listened to it over and over again till I could comfortably. Now, I don't recommend that you have to memorize stuff. I certainly don't. But if it helps you, build your beliefs stronger, so you get that eye of the tiger to listen to stuff over and over, that's great. But the company's given us almost too much now. It's wonderful, but we have so much that you just go find 3 things you love. One about the products, one about the business, one about the company, and then just share those 3 things over and over with your team, and get them to share it with people. And so it's not so overwhelming. I love how Brian Rose made our Freedom Revolution welcome just with a couple videos. So when new people come on there, it's not just like 178 or whatever it is items on the website. Is that helpful, Christy?
Yeah, super helpful, Toni. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on your new baby that's on its way. And remember, we do this call every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We've got some great things happening. Christy, did you want to share about the call happening in a couple weeks? Did you want to share about that one?
About bank? Is that one?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Sherry Tree coming in. I think it's September 20th. And Toni, you're welcome to invite your folks too if you've heard of Bank. It's the personality profile. So I don't know if you were at the amazing event that Lauren did in Austin prior to conference, where they talked about, are you red? Are you yellow? Are you blue? Are you green? So like a lot of the doctors are green and they want to know the clinical information. But if you're talking to somebody who is not green and they're yellow, then they care more about, you asking them personal questions about themselves and spending time together. So it's just really important to understand what people lead with. So for example, like I'm a blue, I need to understand the process. Lauren is a red. Lauren is like, it's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. What don't you get? The fruit, the vegetable, or the capsule. And I'm like, I don't get any of it. So she knew right away that she had to put me on the phone with, I forget, it was the in-house doctor at the time. And then also with Cheryl, and they filled in the gaps. So anyway, we're doing that call on September 20th. It's a super easy, within a matter of seconds, you can determine what color somebody leads with so that you know how to speak the same language to them. And the way that they describe it, it's like, speaking Japanese to somebody that speaks English, right? Like you're just, why not speed it up and speak the language that's important to them? Or speak the language that they understand and hit on the things that are important to them. So you're all welcome to that. Look for the flyer. And Toni, I'm happy to share that with your team.
That would be awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Toni, again. And then I put the link in there for everybody about our upcoming January event. You want to get registered. The live event's filling up. We're doing 250 people live, and then we're doing hopefully 20,000 online is our goal. We're going to be in all the different languages. So thank you. And I know we got Jeff Roberti on Cheryl's call. So thank you, Toni, again.
All right.
And I hope
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.